Welcome, everyone. My name is Tracy Hillstrom, and I'm the Senior Product Marketing Manager for Speedway Readers and Antennas in Impinj. And on behalf of all of us at Impinj and Avery Dennison, we truly appreciate your taking the time to be with us on the call today. For today's webinar, I'm going to kick things off with a quick introduction to Impinj, for those of you that aren't familiar with us, and then briefly talk about how the market and RFID paradigm are evolving, and especially how RFID products devised from a systems view are best able to deliver the RFID performance margin needed to meet both current and future RFID requirements. Joining me is George Dyche, Director of RFID Products for Avery Dennison, RFID. And George is really the reason we're here on the call today. George and his team at Avery Dennison, RFID, are experts in RFID inlay design and manufacture. And our RFID solutions are stronger when they apply their knowledge to our Monza-based inlay design. So we're excited about what they have to share with you today. George is going to be sharing their latest tag innovations based on our Monza 5 RFID tag IC. Now, before I begin, I wanted to let you know that today's presentation should take about 25 minutes, leaving us with about 5 minutes at the end to answer any questions you may have. Please feel free to type your questions into the question box on the right side of your screen at any time. And if for any reason we're unable to get to your question at the end, we'll be sure to follow up with you offline. Now let's get started with a brief introduction to Impinj. We have some information presented here on the slide, but really at our core, the way I like to explain it, Impinj is a UHF RFID technology provider. And we're focused on advancing the over-the-air RF interface to meet the needs of today's and tomorrow's customers. As a result, we pack our innovation into 3 product lines. One is our Monza RFID tag chips. These are the small pieces of silicon that you see in the RFID tags that Avery will be talking to you about later today. And they're the market-leading RFID tag chips on the market today. Our Indy RFID reader chips is another product line that we offer, and this is a reader in a chip format. It's perfect for embedding into small format reader type products, and as a result, it's the market-leading reader chip available today, and you'll see it often in handheld products or in other small RFID readers. And we have a line of Speedway readers and antennas, and these products are full-up reader products and antenna products and used in many of the solutions brought to market today that require fixed readers of this type. We have a full set of networked solution providers and OEMs that reach across a wide variety of industries and vertical markets with their solutions. And it's these partners of ours that take our RFID solutions and bring them to market. And it's enabling many industries, some of which you see listed here. In addition, we join and collaborate with other top RFID suppliers to collectively bring the highest performing RFID products to market. And we're happy to have Avery Dennison here with us today, who will be sharing information about their new products. But first, I wanted to take a few minutes to set the stage by considering the direction of the RFID market. I'm going to take a little bit of a different approach with you today. We're going to talk about how the RFID market has been evolving. And I'm going to start by considering really how the use cases in RFID have been evolving. And so let's go back into our Wayback Machine and talk about what's been happening over the last 10 years. And really from a use case standpoint in UHF passive RFID, the focus has been largely on read zones and portals, and looking at the premise of RFID being we're looking at a solution where the tag is coming to an environment where the reader is going to pick up a read. And it's moving through that environment, and the reader needs to be aware that tags are coming fast and furious and moving through, and they're going to be gone at some point. And so we've set up our reader and our tag solutions to be very, very good at this. And the partners and solution providers out there today are very good in crafting this kind of solution. It's what we started with, and we've become very good at, and we've taken it into all these great industries and created all these wonderful solutions with it. But this particular use case is evolving. We're adding to it more so these days. And it started by looking at a little bit of a different use case environment, and that is continuous monitoring. And we saw this happening maybe 3 to 4 years ago in real earnest, bringing solutions to market that have a different basic premise to them than some of the portal-based applications. And so they're looking at repeated reads of the stationary tags. There's a known set of tags. I expect these tags to be there, and I'm going to read them consistently and repeatedly in order to gain information about that environment. And it may be in a localized, very contiguous read zones where you find these monitoring environments. So we've added to our capabilities in recent years in continuous monitoring types of applications. So it's not too hard to imagine what the next step is going to be and what we're working on today, and that's the idea of wide area monitoring. And so this is an environment, again, where you're doing more monitoring. There's a known set of tags. You're checking in with those tags on a repeated basis, and you're gaining information about the environment from those tags. And in this case, however, we're looking at what can we do to make that happen across a wider area. And a lot of this particular push towards the use case is really coming from retail industries or industries looking at doing item-level tagging. And so we want to make sure that these item-level tagging initiatives are part of what's driving, it is part of what's driving this paradigm change. We want to be sure that we're successful. And to be successful, we need to consider what the new requirements being brought forth as a part of item-level tagging entail. And so let's talk about that. We talk at Impinj with a number of companies who are looking at tagging items and bringing in more information from those tagged items using passive UHF RFID. And one of the first things they tell us is we've got a variety of items, and we really need to have some very small tag formats. And that's because they're trying to tag things like this, jewelry or other small items, cosmetics, things that have a great deal of variability and a large set of SKUs associated with them, or things that are of interest. And so we need to have a small tag to support that. At the same time, they want tags that support a great variability in read range. And that's because you're trying to read at a great distance in some cases. To do this wide area monitoring and read across large distances, you want that tag to be able to read far. But when it comes to doing point of sale, you don't want it to read far. You want it to read very close in and make sure that you're capturing only what's in that particular read zone in that particular area. And so that's a particularly challenging set of requirements there. Customers want item-level granularity, and so they want to be able to discern one of a similar type of product from another. And here you'll see a light table that has some tags located on it, some hang tags. And in there, we have some RFID tags from our friends at Avery Dennison, some you'll see a little bit later. But when you take a look at them, you'll see all of them are encoded with an EPC. Now, you can put really just about whatever you want into the EPC, but most often what I see happening is folks are using that the same way they would use a UPC in a barcode format. It's a SKU number or some other indication of what that product is. At the same time, if you want to do things like count, be able to count on shelves how many products there are, you need to be able to discern one product that has the same EPC from another product with the same EPC. And the way that a lot of people will do that is by using a TID or a tag identification number in combination with the EPC to get to that. So in order to get to that really item-level granularity, we need to consider both an EPC and TID to meet that requirement. People are looking towards more fixed and automated reading to meet these requirements. And here we have a handheld reader, and that may be the start of the way that people use RFID today. But really, as we move forward, people are looking at fixed formats. They want to look at infrastructure and automated capabilities. We don't want to be relying on human beings and whether or not they're using the product correctly in order to facilitate data getting into our systems. And so moving towards this more fixed or automated reading format is the direction that item-level tagging is wanting to go. They want fast, efficient encoding. And this is a big part of bringing item-level tagging to market. And here I've shown a little picture of one of our test setups that we use to test encoding methodologies. And this is at a trade show last year, in the last couple of years, and you'll see two wheels there. And in those wheels are where we're very quickly, as they spin around, encoding one tag, decoding it, and re-encoding it in order to be able to test encoding speed. This is important because people who are trying to do item-level tagging have already optimized their supply chain processes and their manufacture processes, and they don't want to slow them down to be able to have to encode tags. And so we want to be able to very quickly and easily be added to those systems today without having to cause a lot of changes. And last, we want to make sure that we have the lowest total cost of ownership and applied tag costs. When you're talking about tagging items, the scale of that particular activity, it requires that you maintain a lower cost structure and make sure that it's affordable for all the customers trying to do it. This is a very challenging set of performance criteria, and we need to keep the cost down at the same time. So overall, what's being asked for is a challenging set of conditions. Impinj and Avery Dennison have been working together to meet these requirements with some of the products that we're here to talk about today. And so let's talk about how we do that on the Impinj side of things. We want to make sure that at Impinj, we're bringing products that meet the challenge of item level tagging. And let's start by talking about our tag silicon product, and specifically the Monza 5 tag. First and foremost, Monza 5 delivers great read sensitivity, which is critical in a market that continues to demand longer read ranges and smaller tag sizes. This is one of the requirements we just talked about. But moreover, Monza 5 also delivers very high write sensitivity and encoding speed. And in fact, there can be a significant difference between read and write sensitivity that limits encoding performance. Monza 5 features high write sensitivity, very similar to its high read sensitivity, enabling high-speed encoding systems to run faster for higher throughput and lower applied tag costs. And when it comes to enabling end users with numbering schemes that get them to item-level granularity with the fewest system modifications, Monza 5 offers more flexibility. In addition to IT-based serialization, Monza 5 supports chip-based serialization method called Monza self-serialization. That's not all. Impinj is very focused on how our customers are using Monza tags in the field and their use cases. And we add optimizations such as tag focus and fast ID that deliver the best possible performance given the challenges of a real-world environment. For example, tag focus helps to get to the harder to read tags when there are many easy to read tags in the same field. And fast ID returns the TID with EPC during inventory in approximately a third the time it may take to collect these reads otherwise. So we're very focused on delivering a high-performance silicon that meets the needs of item-level tagging. But we don't stop there. We also have reader products. We want to make sure that we're able to optimize the whole over-the-air interface. And so what we have today, and I'm talking about today, is our Speedway Revolution. In the Speedway Revolution fixed readers, we offer very low total cost of ownership. Again, this is one of the requirements we talked about that item-level taggers want to achieve. We do that by having created a product with a very high MTBF, 520 years at 25C. And so your product's going to last a long time. We make sure that we deliver a product that can use power over Ethernet and not require additional electrical drops. And we do that at the lowest and most commonly deployed PoE standard there is today, and that's the IEEE 802.3AF standard. We've also taken the time to go around the world and collect worldwide certifications, not putting that burden onto our customers. The performance of the Speedway Revolution is top in the industry, and we do that not only by having a high sensitivity, but by adding special features such as our autopilot feature, which reduces interference. This is really important when you're talking about item-level tagging, and particularly wide area monitoring, where you may have a large number of readers in the same space. You want to make sure that those readers are cooperating and not interfering with one another. We're also the market leader in fixed UHF passive RFID readers. And we've done that by creating a system of tools and capabilities to surround the readers so that installing readers and creating a solution with them is easy to do. And so we have programming toolkits, we have special software such as Speedway Connect, and we have a full suite of products including various reader formats, including our X Portal product, which is a reader and antenna in one, and antenna hub products and accessories. And if you have questions about either of those, please do join us on our website and we can get you more information about them. But the real power of Impinj solutions comes from when you deploy these two high-performance components in the same solution. Using Monza 5 tags with Speedway Revolution readers enhances their advantages in order to deliver performance margin. In the real world, where the RF environment is in a constant state of flux, Having enough performance margin coverage is what makes the difference between a robust RFID system that works, enabling these positive new customer experiences, and one with marginal success and returns. And so that's really the key to success in the RFID market. Ultimately, RFID works really well when you pick the right components to maximize the overall system, and Impinj has these high-performance products built to work collaboratively. But it's only part of the answer. Avery Dennison brings important expertise in tag and inlay design and overall RFID systems for really a whole solution. And we're so happy to be working closely with them. And I can't wait for you to see some of their new products. So now I'll turn things over to George Dyche from Avery Dennison so he can share some of the great things they're doing. George, it's all yours.
Thank you, Tracy. And it's a pleasure to be co-hosting this webinar with you. And I'd like to thank all the viewers for your time and attention to this broadcast. I know many of you are colleagues, partners that we've worked with in the past, and maybe new to RFID, so really appreciate your time this morning. Avery Dennison Corporation, we're a global organization comprised of 4 business units around pressure-sensitive materials. We're a specialty converting business. Many of you are familiar with us in our office and consumer products. Certainly an exciting area, which is the retail branding information solution. Within all these business units, what's at the core of what we do is that we're focused around innovation. And no doubt that RFID industry has seen strong growth the past several years. Today, the discussions about RFID are less about the physics and really trying to make it work. The solutions are there. It's more about how can you get form factors that fit on your packaging and provides high readability in your unique application. As innovators of RFID technology, we're vertically focused on the design, manufacture, distribution, and application of these RFID inlays globally. Whether you're in the apparel market space, general supply chain, healthcare, aviation, we seek to understand your unmet needs and work to deliver products to realize your business goals. So I'd like to engage you in a thought experiment for a moment. If you think about your supply chain or your business process, imagine the item that you're intending to tag. And for a moment, imagine that tag, let's say it's sourced in Asia. It's got to get onto manufacturer, gets onto a ship, comes to the U.S., distribution center, truck, to a store, back room. You can imagine that all along the way that product is being touched at various read points. So the important thing is that the RFID tag is the only element in the supply chain that touches every single RFID read point. And it's important that this product and tag interaction works very well together. You know, for your product perspective, you might have a single item. It could be stacked, high density configurations, various material contents of your product, and certainly the different types of packaging that you might be using for your item. From an RFID tag perspective, it's around the size limitation that has to fit on the packaging, but at the same time provide adequate read performance. And if you think of the journey, which I kind of describe as the environment, that journey through your supply chain is very complex. It's widely variable. And it's important having the right RFID solution set in place to have high read reliability. So whether you're doing portal reads, overhead scans, point of sale terminal reads, in your DC choke points, or on your store floor, wherever it may be, it's important to have that right mix of reader infrastructure and tag infrastructure. Also, the key thing is, what business problem are you really trying to solve? As I mentioned earlier, the technology it works. It's really finding the right solution set, putting it together to realize your value. So how can you be confident that you have a robust solution set? Remember, I said one key to the solution is that the inlay is a key parameter as it touches every single read point in the supply chain. So today I'm going to introduce to you 5 form factors powered by Monza 5 silicon and delivered to the market by innovative antenna designs by Avery Dennison. Why are we doing this? We want to bring a wide range of formats to address your wide variable and application needs and performance requirements to give you the products to be successful. So what are these inlays? And we'll go through each one in a little more detail. But in general, these are designed to cover a wide spectrum of applications, market verticals, and different packaging requirements that you may have. So they'll cover aviation, apparel, item-level retail. You might have some near-field applications and other items. So looking at our 227 Monza 5 product, this is our standard dipole in our product offering. It's one of the highest performing in this product family. It's currently replacing our AD223, which many of the users in the market are familiar with. It's Monza 3 based. And this inlay has been approved by the University of Arkansas Radio Compliance Program for various use case categories. And we have some of those listed below around boxed electronics, large boxed items, denim apparel, and hanging apparel. So this product would fit into a 4-inch label or a 4-inch hang tag. It's got a wide application use. It works on a broad range of application materials, and it's global performing. The AD550M5, this is an interesting tag. It's designed for the aviation market, for baggage handling, for transfer luggage as well. It's a hybrid between a dipole and a 3-dimensional tag. As you may imagine, some of the requirements on a tag may require it to be omnidirectional and that it can read in any orientation. Standard dipole like a 227 M5 would have nulls where the tag is more difficult to read. This 550 incorporates the best of both worlds in a Monza 5 based platform that gives you reduced nulls, high read performance. More importantly, it's narrow edge leading. So where you need narrow edge product labels, such as baggage handling, baggage transfer labels, this would be a perfect product for that. It's also suitable for a wide range of supply chain applications where you have various material contents around wood, plastics, and metals. Many of you are familiar with the AD843 inlay, which is Monza 3 based. This would be a comparable product that you should consider for your application needs. And it's global performing as well. Our AD233 Monza 5, this is an inlay focused for apparel, mainly around denim, poly bags, and hanging apparel. The neat characteristic of this design is that because it's tuned for denim, it tends to work on a very broad range of applications. As we mentioned earlier, what product is it that you intend to tag? What are the packaging requirements? What are the material contents of your product? This inlay would be a great option for you. It fits in a 3-inch label, 3-inch hang tag. It's approved by University of Arkansas Radio Compliance for the various use cases listed below. And our AD171 M5, this is one of my personal favorites. It's a small inlay packed full of performance. It's tuned to operate on a broad range of product configurations, ranging from free space, near metal, such as in jewelry, to putting on solution bottles where there might be some liquid. It's capable of providing up to 4 feet or greater read range, and that's an FCC measurement. But also a neat characteristic is that the face-on and edge-on performance of this inlay is balanced, so that you have reduced null capability, and it works as well on healthcare, pharmaceutical items, cosmetics, where you need a small form factor. More importantly, depending on your packaging requirements, this label would be great to fit in where it's space limited. Our AD110 M5, this product is a true near-field inlay. It has no far-field performance. This inlay is ideal with the Impinj near-field antenna set and with the reader system. This tag is great for lab diagnostics where you need a thin, small form factor to put on vials, put on biopsy cassette, labels to put on just about anything test tube-wise that you can imagine. It's also a good product to put on plastics, so it's not affected as much by the material. So it maintains its performance well and its balance in free space as well as on certain types of materials. There might be an application where you're wanting to embed this inlay inside the plastic for verification or validation, or just simply a small label. We're also seeing applications that's being used in jewelry because of the small form factor. So here's our M5 inlay selector guide, and to sum it up. So we've got your 5 inlays powered by the Impinj Monza 5 silicon. We've got a wide range of sizes for your different application needs. And although we have these inlays targeted for specific market applications or use cases, we encourage you to try them and test them in whatever system you are envisioning that you want to deploy. Whatever challenging requirements you may have with the product, we have the inlay solutions for you to try. As Avery Dennison, we also have strong technical expertise in the design, understanding of the use cases, and applications test lab in Miamisburg, Ohio. as well as global locations. So we can assist you with your application needs, to discuss with you what your requirements are, and really to work with you to help you realize, again, what business value you're trying to bring to your company and to your customers. We have samples available now for all of these inlays. We are in production with many of them. We've been sampling these. We've been prototyping with various application with customers and unique applications. So we are very excited to be offering this to you and look forward to working closer with you and helping you in your deployment. So I'd like to thank you for your time, and I hope you found this introductory webinar beneficial and look forward to bringing these solutions to help you realize your RFID implementations. And I will pass it back to Tracy.
Thank you, George. And thanks to everyone for being here for our webinar today. We'd like to open up to questions now. And I'll remind you that there's a question box on the right-hand side of your screen. And please do take the time to put any questions that you have into that box, and then we'll start to read them out and have them answered online for a few minutes. I did want to take this opportunity while you're putting those questions in to thank George Dyche for joining us today. At Impinj, we enjoy a close working relationship with our friends at Avery Dennison, and really I hope you're able to see from the presentation today that we're working for you. We're trying to craft products and solutions that ultimately enable you to bring whole solutions to your customers, and we're trying to solve those problems that can't be solved with any other technology using RFID technology. So that's what we're after today. So thank you. I do have a few questions. Let me take a second. Here's one for you, George.
Okay.
It says that we are looking for a tag which would bring best performance for ampule injection, those little test tubes, I guess. Any suggestions?
I think the first thing we need to really understand is, what is the environment, the read point that you're trying to implement. So a lot of times, whether we're designing or selecting a tag for an application, we would start with the overall system of what you're trying to accomplish. So if you're looking for small form factor, the AD110 is the smallest. It's pure near field. So depending on what kind of read range performance you're needing, it's really a difference between a near field or a far field. The AD171, it's essentially a 1.2 by 0.7 inch label form factor. So I have to understand kind of what your size requirements are and what your read range requirements are, and then we can map out what options we would have best for that.
Okay. And here's another question for you, George. It says, what allows the AD171M5 suitable for near metal applications? Is there ferrite metal material incorporated in the tag?
No, it's just the way the antenna structure is developed. So our antenna designers, what we do is we define to them the environment with which the tag is intending to operate. So during the design process, we will simulate and empirically measure metal. In this case, when we talk about metal, we're referring to jewelry items. So you have close proximity to jewelry. You have various orientation, randomness, if you will, of the tag. So we have to make it sort of omnidirectional. We have to make it work well in with the metal. And the requirement is to read at a certain read distance. So putting all those things together allows the antenna designers to be creative and create the structure that will accomplish that. So there's no ferrite materials or anything like that in this tag. It's pure antenna design and Monza 5 chip performance that's realizing it.
Okay, thanks, George. Here's another one for you. Where can we get samples?
We can get samples. You can contact us at rfid.info@averydennison.com. We also we have Leslie Murphy who manages that. She will be happy to take your request. She will take your sample request, and we'll submit that to our sampling department and be happy to give you whatever you need. Also, if you have a Avery Dennison sales representative that you are working closely with, you can reach out to them directly and talk to them and tell them what your request is, and then we'll get that process for you. And
here's another one for you, George. It says, what is the meaning of dry and PS, or pressure-sensitive format, in the last page of the presentation?
Sure. So the inlays are offered in two formats. What we call dry basically is, if you imagine what an inlay looks like, it's a PET polyethylene carrier where you have the antenna on it. Has no sticky to it. A PS inlay basically is we die cut and put pressure-sensitive material on it. So if you're using applicators, for example, in your converting process, you buy a pressure-sensitive inlay. So the applicator would dispense the sticky inlay to your face sheet. Or simply, if you're doing, for ease of test purposes, you might want to use the wet inlay called pressure-sensitive or wet. It's kind of synonymous. You can use those and just stick those to the product for quick testing or in your validation process. So different converting methods. We use dry. Some will use pressure-sensitive.
Great. Okay, this is relatively technical, so I'll ask it, but if you need to pass it on, that's fine. It says to George, for the AD171, what can you tell me about the cryogenic properties, specifically negative 196 degrees C to negative 70 degrees C?
Typically, we spec the operation of the inlays down to minus 40 degrees Celsius. We have done testing, I don't think quite that low. Typically, higher temperatures are more problematic than the colder temperatures. So I think what we have to do in this case is do some experimentation to see at those levels what will really happen. I don't think we've had applications that have stressed or pushed the inlays down that far. The other thing to be cognizant of is if the inlay is being embedded in the packaging or the product itself, or if it's just a label, most likely it's going to be protected even more. But also, what's the duration of that at those temperatures? So I think we'd like to have more discussion with you on that. We can certainly set up experimentation, give you samples to help you, get that question answered empirically.
Okay. Well, we've reached the end of our time here, and so we do have a few questions that we'll follow up offline with folks on, but really appreciate the time you've spent with us today. Feel free to visit the website to learn more information and to contact. Our contact information is up on this last slide. We'd love to hear from you if you have further questions, or we can help you in another way. So thank you for joining us today, and we look forward to working with you.
All right. Thank you, Tracy, and thank you, everyone, for your time today.